In the Gospels, Jesus gives his disciples many images of himself. Vine and we the branches, bread of life and living water to quench our thirst forever, shepherd and flock. Some of the earliest images of Jesus found in churches and tombs are not Jesus on the cross or an infant in a manger, but a gentle shepherd with a lamb draped over his shoulders. And I was delighted to see that image earlier on, Sharon. Good choice. We must have been in sync. This reminds me of a poster that I saw many years ago, and which you might also have seen. It's been out for quite a while. I believe it is called Footprints in the Sand. It describes an imaginary conversation with a recently departed person who is reviewing with Jesus the earthly life lived. The person sees two sets of footprints in the sand where Jesus was walking beside the person. But in the tough times, there is only one set of footprints. The person complains to Jesus that he wasn't there when he was most needed. Jesus explains, there's only one set of footprints because that's when I was carrying you. Historians who study life in Jesus' time tell us that shepherds were often surly and smelly people. But I like to keep the image of Jesus with a lamb, or us, draped over his caring and sturdy shoulders. When we wander away, which we know we do all too often, Jesus, like the Good Shepherd, comes searching for us to rescue us and restore us to his heart. The words which the author has Jesus speak enhance this caring image. Jesus explains that he not only will give his life, but will give it willingly. It may have looked as though Jesus was captured and executed by the authorities, but in reality, as Jesus says, no one takes my life from me. I lay it down on my own. This realization brings up the idea of sacrifice. We may ask ourselves the question, what am I willing to die for? What am I willing to give up to follow Jesus? Perhaps, like many of us, you have made a voluntary detour. I will join this service group or get involved in this cause for a while and then get back on track with the path of my life. In some cases, and for some people, the detour becomes the path. I cannot help but think of George Ledger, and glad you're with us today, George, who has taken this temporary detour to reach out and help some boys in Guatemala. When his heart saw the great need, the detour became the path of his life. And his shepherding over the past 30 years has made such a difference in the lives of so many young men in Guatemala. Well, I firmly believe that we are not all called to be George Ledgers or Mother Teresa's. Thank goodness that our God does not expect or equip all of us for service of such magnitude. But we do not need to look far from our own path to see those in need of shepherding. We are all sheep, the poor and the affluent, the addict and the CEO, the beaten and the beater, you and me, all sheep. It is God who tends to us so that we might tend to each other. It is God who loves us so that we might love one another. Is not that the command of our gentle shepherd? Love one another as I have loved you. In order to love one another, we must also love our earth, which sustains the life of all of us. We cannot profess to love others if we are destroying their life source by polluting or overheating our earth. As we commemorate Earth Day, may we also be aware of our need to be shepherds of our planet and its resources. We have in Jesus a faithful example of what it means to be a good shepherd. May we have the eyes of the heart to see the needs of others. May we have the compassion, courage, strength, and determination to be shepherds to those who are in need. And may we realize that our shepherd will be walking with us and even carrying us when necessary.